Hello and welcome to my channel. I wish I could say welcome back to my channel, but this is actually my first video, so welcome, you're all the first ones here, and I'm very glad to have you. As you can tell from the title, hopefully, this is my entire endometriosis journey, my whole story from age 15 all the way up to now, which is age 24. One of the main reasons I want to make this video is because there is still this taboo around talking about endometriosis and anything that remotely involves gynecological health, especially for someone like me who doesn't know anyone in their actual real life who also has endometriosis or has had a laparoscopy or anything like that. I feel like we need a wealth of resources online of people like me and like many others that there are just sharing their stories honestly and authentically. The best thing that we can do, I think, is just support each other. Disclaimer, obviously I'm not a medical professional or scientist of any kind, but I will try and put links for everything that I reference in the video description if you want to check out and read real scientific evidence from real scientists, not me. I guess we should start at the very beginning. So the first time that I suspected something was wrong with me in this sense, I was 15, I got my period and it was like incredibly heavy. And extremely painful to the point where I couldn't walk around, I just didn't feel like it was how it was supposed to be like. At that point in time, the pain was extremely concentrated around my period, so I would be, sore for like a week per month, and outside of that I was completely fine. I didn't really have anything else wrong with me, and for that reason I wrote it off as just being bad, painful, heavy periods. I just thought, I honestly didn't know what endometriosis was at that point. I'd never heard of it, so I just thought maybe there's something wrong with me, but it's not that bad. I did still go to the doctor about this because I thought something just didn't feel right, and they prescribed me the contraceptive pill, which is pretty much the #1 thing that they will try to do for anybody who suspects anything is going wrong with them if it's related to the pelvic area. So I started the contraceptive pill at that point, and honestly it did help my heavy periods. I basically took the pill every day. I know you're supposed to do the placebo or whatever. I didn't do that. I just took the pill every day because I honestly wanted nothing more than to never get my period again. But obviously do what's on the packet, right? Don't do what I say. So from that point everything kind of got progressively worse, especially over the next 4 or 5 years. There was a couple of times I passed out in school because I was so faint and just dizzy and lightheaded. I would be in pain a lot more often, more than just around my period. And yeah, I think the mental health side of things definitely started to kick in around that time as well. My mental health was just going downwards. It wasn't that bad, honestly, it wasn't that bad at this point, but it was definitely going downwards. Then I went to uni. So from ages 17 to 22 I was in uni, and that was the time when it got bad. It got really bad. I would say the worst point started in 2022 when I was on my year abroad in America, and I honestly I was struggling so bad with the pain. The pain was no longer trackable or predictable at all. It would just come all the time. It didn't care if it was near my period or not. It was just it would just show up. And with that I got a lot of mental health symptoms. So I'd started having panic attacks quite regularly, and I just got very depressed. I started antidepressants and a couple of other medications to stop me from having panic attacks. I didn't really share most of this with the people in my life. I had a boyfriend at the time who I shared pretty much everything with, but aside from that I really didn't have many other people that I felt like I could speak to about this. I just don't find it easy to get into the depths of my feelings and be vulnerable with people. Full stop, really. I guess I should mention what other symptoms I was having at this time. I was having insane chronic fatigue. I would literally take a nap every single day, and I would be sleeping at the weirdest hours. There was no sleep schedule. Me and my friends would sometimes have dinner and then we'd be going out afterwards, and I would tell them I'm just gonna go home and get changed and then I'll come meet you guys to go out. And they just knew I wasn't showing back up. They knew I was going to sleep. Honestly, I think my reputation at that time among my friends was yeah, she's probably asleep. That's definitely a combination of the chronic fatigue, but also just not wanting to be awake and not wanting to experience the world or life the way that I was experiencing it when I was awake, which is really sad to think about because I have a completely different feeling about life now, but that's just the truth. That's where I was at that time. Another symptom that I had majorly, which I don't see that many people talk about, but I think it's just because of the taboo, is pain during sex. I would have insane pain during sex, which definitely affected my relationship with my partner at the time, but also with myself and my body and my sexuality and how I felt I was able to enjoy certain things or express myself in certain ways. I don't know, people obviously have hesitations talking about things like this, which is fine, but I just wish that more people would speak up on this because I think it was something I struggled a lot with and I couldn't really find many people to relate with about it. I've since learned a lot more about the pelvic floor and the impacts of chronic pain or chronic tension in the pelvic area, but at the time I honestly did not know what to do. I didn't know where to turn to. I just thought there was something wrong with me, like maybe mentally, and yeah, I just wish there was more support on that specific symptom. At this point, the chronic pain also started getting worse, so like it wasn't just in my pelvic area anymore, it was spreading down my legs, my back, my lower back, even my shoulder was experiencing pain. And at this point, I'm still completely undiagnosed. I just think that I maybe like have something wrong with me, but I have no idea what it is. I've been to the doctor at this point probably like 15 times, I would say. I've had blood tests, I've had urine tests, I've had ultrasounds, nothing is coming back different to normal, and doctors honestly have no idea what is wrong with me. They kind of just tell me like it's normal, you know, it's being a woman, it's like the pain of having a period. Like they probably think that I'm completely exaggerating and overreacting to minor period pain. So I get back from America, I'm back in London, the pain is at its worst. This is my final year of uni, I'm having to like write my dissertation, all this stuff, and I honestly just can't handle it anymore. Life is not enjoyable, life's not fun anymore. I feel like I'm second guessing all of my relationships, my friendships, like everything just feels completely overwhelming and life just feels completely unenjoyable. I don't feel like there's anything at this time in my life where I could honestly look forward to anything because I knew that I would probably be in pain and my mental health was just on the floor at this point. I can't sleep, my pain is coming in the evening a lot of the time, so I can't fall asleep. I have to go outside and like go on walks in the middle of the night, and I would literally take my hot water bottle and I would strap it to my stomach, and I would walk around London, the streets of London at 3 o'clock in the morning in the dark by myself because I honestly couldn't stay still. I went to A&E twice during this time and both times they just gave me ibuprofen. I honestly thought I had appendicitis once because the pain was that bad. And they basically told me, all we can give you is painkillers, there's nothing wrong with you, go home. At this point, I discover what endometriosis is. So keep in mind, every GP appointment I've had up till now has been with a different doctor. I found it pretty much impossible to ever get an appointment with the same doctor, and honestly, I didn't really want to because why would I go back to someone who completely brushed off all of my issues? So I get so lucky, I book a GP appointment and I randomly by chance get assigned a GP who is an endometriosis specialist. So I'm telling her all my symptoms, I'm telling her everything I've been experiencing, and she's like, have you thought about endometriosis? Honestly, it's hard to explain, but I just did not have the energy or the will to do research. So I barely knew anything about endometriosis. She pretty much was the first person to properly introduce me to the condition. And again, we did blood tests, we did urine tests, everything came back normal. When she said that, I was like, okay, you know what? I've tried pretty much everything else, all the different contraceptives, blah, blah, blah. Let me see if I have endometriosis. Because at this point, mental health on the floor again, pain, 10 out of 10 awful most of the time. Life was just becoming unlivable. So I talked to my parents, I was like, look, I think I have this thing. And the waiting list on the NHS, she referred me to the gynecological people on the NHS. The wait list was ridiculous. Like, I wish no one had to wait on a wait list for this ever, but I was in a lucky position where I was able to go private for my first surgery because I was just like, listen, I need this out, and if I have the means to do it, that is most certainly one thing that is worth the money if you have it. I know how lucky I am to not have had to wait on that wait list, and I'm literally so grateful every day that I didn't have to, because I don't know what life would have even looked like for me those months waiting. So at this point, I still haven't done much research. My parents have found a surgeon in my home city. Honestly, I find it really hard to think about endometriosis because it's already such a fatiguing part of my life. It feels like a chore to think more about it than it's already forced itself into all of my time during work, like outside of work, everything. Like it's just pervasive, and I think I avoided researching it a bit too much because going into the surgery, I didn't even know the difference between excision and ablation. I was very clueless, but went ahead and did the surgery. I got an excision surgery and she found endometriosis in a bunch of places, and she said that she was able to remove most of it but not all of it because it was in places that was like dangerous to excise basically. But to me, I took this as a chance to have a new lease of life, and I, for that reason, really did not recover properly. I just wanted to get out there. I wanted to get back into the world and try and enjoy life again with being pain-free, which is why less than a week after my first surgery, I traveled down to London, I went to a concert, and then the day after that I went out on a night out. I really did not prioritize peace at that point in my life. I was still getting really stressed about things. I had just got a new job. I had just handed in my dissertation. Like everything was all go, and I really did not give my body or my mind a time to rest or take a break at all. If I could go back and tell her like the value and the benefits of peace and like really taking recovery seriously, life might have looked different after that. But because of the way that I treated recovery and because of the fact that she couldn't remove all of the endometriosis, I pretty much went straight back to being in pain. It wasn't as bad for a while. It was like a few months where I was like, okay, maybe this is improving, but really it was still pretty bad and it was just going downhill again. So for that whole next year, I basically was descending back down into the worst of it, both mentally and physically. At that point, I started to think maybe this isn't all actually as solved as I want it to be. After all, I do still have endometriosis inside of me, confirmed, and yeah, I'm not feeling good. So at that point, a year later, I book another surgery. And this time I did loads of research. I picked a very specific surgeon, I read all the reviews, and I researched how to recover properly from an endometriosis surgery so that you don't just like mangle up all your internal organs like immediately after. So I met with this second surgeon. He was extremely validating. He explained how all of my symptoms might possibly be connected to endometriosis, all my mental health stuff, the pain during sex, the weird like toilet issues, and obviously all of the pelvic pain, lower back pain, leg pain, all that stuff. The second surgery was life-changing. It was just over 2 years ago now, and honestly, it was the best thing I ever did in my whole life. I should also mention I did get the Mirena IUD put in around halfway between both those surgeries, which for the first few months was absolute hell. I mean, I was just constantly bleeding, but after it settled in, I feel like it did maybe help a bit. Anyway, during my second surgery, he replaced the IUD with a new one, and I don't know if it contributed to the success of the surgery, but I definitely feel a hell of a lot better now. So I took my recovery very seriously for the second surgery because I knew the mistakes I had made the time before. I'll definitely make a video on what I would do if I was having a laparoscopy now and how I would focus on healing. Long story short, I stopped my regular job and I got a job in an art gallery temporarily, which was just a lot more chill, very peaceful, and pretty much zero stress, zero pressure. But I would say the main thing that's changed since then is honestly how I view life and my priorities in life. I think I value wellness and health, but also following my gut, chasing my dreams, like doing what I want way more than I ever did before I had all this pain. One of the reasons for that is with this chronic illness, I don't know when I'm going to get hit again, if I'm going to get hit again with pain, with severe pain, debilitating pain, all of this stuff that prevents me from doing exactly what I want to be doing. So I'm going to spend every healthy moment doing exactly what I want to be doing. And literally nobody can change my mind on that. Like I will never stop living that way. I think having been down in the depths of it in terms of both mental and physical health, I just value and appreciate my healthy moments, days, weeks to a very high degree, and I have so much gratitude that I get to experience life like this, like through my current lens, when there was a time that I genuinely did not see this in my future ever. Like I never thought that I'd be able to be happy again. There's so much more that I really want to talk about endometriosis, but yeah, I think I'm going to leave this video at that. And yeah, very happy to answer any questions in the comments that you might have. And stick around if you want more endo content. And I'm also going to have some really crazy life-changing videos coming up soon. Life-changing for me, probably not for you. But I'm moving countries and I'm doing a really crazy extreme sport project at the end of the month. So yeah, definitely stick around and hopefully see you in my next video. All right, cheers!